And I want to talk about what we call an IACBA opening. It's a very structured way in which to start our presentations, and its foundation is the process of understanding model that we talked about earlier. The IACBA opening is about 2 minutes in length. It is the setup for the rest of your presentation, which you will outline in the agenda. You start with the issue. What's the issue that needs attention? Hit them with a headline. That's speaking to the decision maker from the process of understanding model. What's being recommended? The opportunity. I have an opportunity for you to address that issue and very briefly outline it. Credentials. What has the business architect done? That is, what is the new information that I'm bringing that you'll need to know in order to take the action that I'm asking you to do. And of course, the action is from the communication objective. I'm going to ask you to sign off on the report. And then you briefly outline the agenda for the rest of the meeting. But this is the IACBA opening.
Hi, in this lesson we're going to talk about presentations and presenting and gain commitment at the C level. I know you're already good at presentations, but we're going to look at some other aspects. In particular, we're going to look at handling interventions and how to make your presentation stand out from the crowd. You saw from the student text that the mind is programmed to record novelty and surprise. That's why some people dress for success. You like it? I'm going to wear it for my daughter's wedding. I don't suggest you dress like this for the C level, but I think you should think about how do I make my presentation different than all the rest. How many of these presentations does the C level see every day where people come out with their PowerPoints and go click, click, click? This is about making yours stand out from the crowd.
Have fun with it. Life's too short. So some of the things to keep in mind. Don't be intimidated. You're a trusted advisor. We talked about the power distance dynamic and mitigated speech back in the communication section. You're the trusted advisor. Act like it.
This is the Vasa, constructed in 1628, one of the largest warships ever constructed. You can see the portholes where the cannons were. It took many years of painstaking construction to build this. It would have been a significant project management challenge. Unfortunately, it stands as another lesson in terms of project management. Number one reason projects failed, you learned in the facilitation section, was lack of client involvement. Number two reason, executive support. This project did have a lot of executive support from the king at the time. Unfortunately, he lacked a trusted advisor. He continued to ask that the ship be made bigger and bigger, the cannons larger and larger. When the ship finally launched, it sailed out into the harbor to great applause and merriment. The doors were opened and a cannon salute made, and the sails were sailing. Unfortunately, there was a lack of sufficient ballast in the bottom of the ship to keep it upright. It tilted one side, the water flowed in, and the ship sank. During testing of the Vasa, 30 crew members ran from one side of the ship to the other to see if it was stable. They were supposed to run back and forth 6 times. However, they only ran 3 times. The captain stopped them from running because the ship was already beginning to list. So the captain knew, many people knew, that the ship was unstable. No one had the courage to tell the king.
We're now going to look at how we handle interventions during a presentation. Interventions can come in many forms. They can be questions, they can be objections, they can be body language. You want to respond to them, and I would suggest you want to encourage interventions. In a way, that's a way to have conversation, have communication with your listener. You want to know what they're thinking, and I think you really would rather them ask questions than to stay silent and puzzle. This format that we have here to respond to interventions has proved useful in many circumstances, and I'm just going to walk you through it and then give you a short exercise on handling interventions and the process for that. One of the keys is to make sure that you understand the nature of the intervention. That's why we start with actively listen. Sometimes we don't clearly get what the objection, the intervention, the concern is. We need to actively listen. We need to probe for more information. What are you thinking? Can you give me an example? Then we need to stop and think, and then respond. And finally, confirm that the concern has been satisfied. And here I think you really need to probe to make sure that the concern has been handled. That's the essence of it. I'm going to give you a little exercise which you will find in your student text. Okay, let's run through an example. The concern here is around the expenses could be more than we estimated. First, actively listening. What I heard you say was this. Did I understand you correctly when you said, right? Then you understand. Next, probing. Can you tell me more about your concern? Here we're trying to figure out, is it some kind of past experience, some assumption he's making? Maybe he's got information that we don't have. We're going to think, what is the real concern? Respond as appropriate, and then confirm. Does that address your concern? Is there anything else? And make that one genuine. Did I answer that? Is there anything else? You want to handle the interventions because at the end of the day, you want them to commit. Try this set of interventions and come up with possible responses of how you would answer that.